What's up, y'all? You're watching Union Minded. I am your host, Eric, and we are going to take a break today from national news and refocus our efforts back on bringing you a summary of the EWMC National Leadership Conference for 2025. Today, I'm going to be covering the second day of the plenary session, the second plenary session. I want to begin by telling you that Sylvester Taylor out of Local 1 was the first to talk to us on day 2, and he had us do a little exercise where he asked us to raise our hands above our heads, and he had us put both of our hands up and hold them up there for a second. Then he asked us to reach a little higher, and so we all gave that extra little bit to reach just a little higher. And the message was basically, find your extra inch to give, because we have so much work to do. And it was a great metaphor to start the day to say, hey, I know you're tired, I know you're worn out, I know you're exhausted from all the effort that you've put forward, but find that extra inch to give. Find that extra little bit of give a F to push forward a little bit more. And I thought it was a great message to bring us. The next speaker that came up was John Arellano, IBEW 1455 Business Manager and Financial Secretary. He advised us to step out of your comfort zone and embrace being comfortable discussing the uncomfortable. The growing theme of day 2 had to do with organizing and had to do with being able to have deep conversations and uncomfortable conversations that will push the IBEW forward in a better direction. A lot of times something's happening around us at work and it's uncomfortable, and our silence is how we cope with the uncomfortable situation. But we have to get used to being comfortable, being uncomfortable, because those difficult conversations have to happen, and they have to happen at work to create a more inclusive work environment. Great message. Kyle McKenna, the NECA chapter president for St. Louis, came out and talked to us. He said, there's no better way to move toward change than together. He said you have to dig deeper than the surface to reach the core of a person. So please dig below the surface. This again harps back to the same theme, talking about having deeper conversations than just the, hey, hello, hand me that piece of strap. More importantly, conversations like, what do you want out of life? What are your dreams? What do you believe in? What do you want? What type of future do you want for your children? Do you have children? Do you aspire to have children? Deeper conversations than just, hi, my name's Eric. Again, great message that they're driving the point home. Mark Hager, International Vice President for the 11th District, came out and spoke to us. He said that the Henry Miller Museum and the IBEW Unity Fund are St. Louis area charities in need of support. For those of you watching this episode, look up those two charitable organizations and donate if you find yourself able to. He says that we have to fight. We need to fight to make sure promises of investment are kept. This is more the nuts and bolts of activism. There were bills passed, like the infrastructure bill, that promised to invest billions of dollars into infrastructure that was going to go to employing a lot of our members. And so this is a nuts and bolts type of deal where they're saying we have to be ready to respond to a call of action in order to protect the investments that were promised. Promises were made, money was invested. Right now, the new administration is freezing those funds and saying no to those projects. We have to put pressure on in order to get those projects green lit and allow them to keep going through. So that's a nuts and bolts thing. Pay attention to your local union website, your event boards. They will announce in those chats, in those areas, in their communications, actionable items. If there's a county supervisor meeting or something of that nature that they need you to show up to, get ready to fight like hell because we are under attack. Kenny Cooper, the international president, came on and spoke to us. He said that mental health is as important as physical health. We have to look out for each other. Go home to your loved ones and say thank you. Go home and recognize how much they do for you. This was a very important reminder because a lot of times, in order to be an activist or in order to be able to respond and get out there and do the work, you put a heavy burden on your family because you're not home to take care of family items, and so it's a heavier load for your spouse to take on and your children. I thank my wife and kids profusely for taking on the heavier burden of me not being there so that I can attend the leadership conference. I'm taking back lessons, and it's important that I'm bringing back this knowledge with me, but at the same time, it's their sacrifice that allowed me to do it. So like that, thank your family for allowing you to have that time to be able to be active. He told us that 80,000 electricians per year increase over the next 10 years. That's how many jobs are going to be in demand. We're going to need 80,000 more than we already have every year for the next 7 to 10 years. You're talking about a lot of work. You're talking about a lot of people that need to be organized. And this goes back to welcoming folks in, teaching them about our brotherhood, showing them the loveliness of our brotherhood, sharing solidarity, and making our union the strongest in the world. Says in 2023, major strike activity went up by over 200%. If you guys watch my channel, you know for sure that strike activity went up because I cover strikes on this channel. The IBEW is on the move, make no mistake. Another message, because the work that's coming is going to put us at the forefront of being able to lead change for our communities. Change that is positive, change that is beneficial to the community. It's going to increase standards of living for our communities, and that's part of our objects. We've survived 2 world wars. We survived the first Trump presidency, and we will survive this one too. Again, make no mistake, labor is under attack under this new administration. They just fired an NLRB appointee and froze the NLRB. That pretty much stopped any kind of labor enforcement. So understand where we are. I know that a lot of you guys get offended when I tell you that this administration is attacking us. Stop getting offended and just look at the reality of the situation that you're in. You are being attacked if you are in the working class, and if you are working for a living like 97% of us are, you're in the working class. I hate to be the one to burst your bubble. He says that our job is to organize all electrical workers. All electrical workers. All electrical workers. Heavy focus on making the newly organized feel welcomed. We have to make them feel home in the IBEW regardless of our differences. Again, organizing all electrical workers means organizing every single one of them, non-union and from every other part of the world that they happen to be here doing electrical work. We want them in our unions. We have to be inclusive, not exclusive. That's the key to building a strong union. He said, tomorrow is today. Everything we fought for is there for us to seize. Nice way to end it. It is up to us to get the job done. Then there was a panel discussion titled Together We Rise, the intersection of IBEW leadership goals and EWMC's mission, where we got a little bit of information and some advice. One thing that we talked about, there's a perception that the EWMC is a place for minorities to complain. That is a misconception. The EWMC is a place to grow, to find mentorship, to find fellowship, to learn leadership, and is the driving force for change at the IBEW. Again, misconceptions are out there, and it's usually made by folks who are speaking out of ignorance, not knowing or ever coming to a meeting or ever being a part of an EWMC event. Find out for yourself what we're all about. You'll find the love and solidarity and inclusivity and all of the things that you think you know about unionism right there at the EWMC. Unity is strong and unity is contagious. That's why I preach solidarity and I preach unity and I live that stuff, because it's important that we have it. Communication is the biggest thing towards building a unified local. Again, communication with your membership. Let them know what their job is in what you're trying to do as a larger goal. Communication as in what we're doing. Transparency. All of these things, it builds buy-in from the rank and file. You need to have clear communication, clear transparency, and then your membership will start to feel like they have skin in the game. But you got to give them something to feel like they got skin in the game. You got to be open and approachable to members. This builds common ground with others. Again, this goes back to caring about what the membership needs. If you're going to be a leader, you need to care about who you're leading so that you're leading them in a way that's beneficial to them. You can't care about someone if you don't know anything about them. So you have to reach out. You got to be approachable. You got to care. You got to sit there and have those conversations that are deep. What advice, this is a question that came up, what advice for someone hesitant about being a leader would you give? The advice that came back was, be ready to be uncomfortable. Learn your trade. Know something about the car that you want to drive. Be active. Stay involved. Take ownership of your local union. Embrace the trade union culture. All of that is brilliant advice, great advice, and advice that I carry every day. My name's Eric. You're watching Union Minded. This has been a recap of the EWMC National Leadership Conference 2025. Remember that the fight's not left and right, it's up and down. It's going to take solidarity to win always. Each one teach one, get out there and reach one, and there can be no union without you and I front and center. Peace.